Hi, Scrubs. I hope you're well.
Hello, you awesome people.
Hello, Starfam.
And we are back. We are well, okay. It's been basically 2 months plus a few weeks, okay? Okay? We know we're a little late. Life has been happening a lot recently, to be honest. But we're who cares, right? We are back, and you're here because you want to hear this awesome topic. Because this thing, we've talked about this before, and it has blown up to be even bigger than at least I thought when we talked about it last time. And it's about dressage again, which I still say is quadrille. Still have my pet peeve with that, it's quadrille. But okay, dressage, and we are focusing more on competitions this time because, wow, it's big. And of course, we are here with experts, which are this time Puff and Crumpet. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello. Thank you.
So happy to have you here. Would you like to introduce yourself? Let's start with Crumpet.
Hi, I'm Crumpet. I've been playing SSO for about 2 years now. And I've been in the dressage community for, I would say, 1.5 years, maybe, possibly. Some point that, yeah. And I've kind of bounced around both the NA servers and the UK servers in terms of dressage. And then social media wise, my Instagram is crumpet.sso, and that's pretty much the only way you will find me.
Yeah, cool. And then Puff.
Hi, I'm Puff. My in-game name is Petra Darkbrooke. I have been playing SSO since beginning of 2018, and I started dressage about a month after, so it's something that I've really done the whole time I've been playing this game. And my social medias are just Petra Darkbrooke on Instagram, but I also have a dressage club, sso.saturnmains, where you can check out what we do.
Cool. Awesome. And of course, you can find all the links down there in the description down below. Okay. Personal update. Things has happened. It's basically summer here in Sweden. No, it's not. It's spring. It was just a very big turn of events. It went from very dark to very light and hot here. So we're quite surprised, at least here in Sweden. Not sure how it is for you all. But March and April has passed. And let's see now. Let's start with Cece. What have you been up to?
I haven't played Star Stable pretty much at all. I've only been on a handful of times in the last while. As for real life, I have been sort of working on the garden again because it's kind of that time of year, but we've had a lot of like really cold weather. So I haven't actually got anything out yet. I've only had a few things that I've been sort of putting outside for a little bit to adjust to the temperature change. So yeah, that's really all I've been doing.
Are you having potatoes?
No potatoes yet, actually. I've mostly done like tomatoes and peppers and different like. I'm gonna try growing like cantaloupe melons this year. No idea how that'll go. I'm toying with the idea of getting sweet potato plants.
Yes!
Because I love sweet potato, but they're not really suitable for the climate here so much, so I'd have to grow them inside. So space might be an issue.
Yeah. Okay, well, always interesting to hear about your new hobby.
Yes.
Cece, what have you been up to?
I've been hanging with my clubs, with events and such. Otherwise, I've been continuing my job hunt. I also want to start. I have a little balcony that I want to have some plants on. We got some plants from my partner's mother last year, and the garlic survived the winter.
Damn!
Those were some really tough garlic. That's really cool. But otherwise, the rest sadly passed away. So I need to plant some new stuff.
I like that you say it's passed away. Did you have a funeral?
Yeah. I mean, it's sad. I feel bad.
They passed away in their sleep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well then, myself, well, I've been working quite a lot. And in April, I actually became employed at Star Stable, so I will stay there now forever. Get rid of me.
Congratulations.
Yay! Thank you. And I know this is actually a May update, but I feel like I need to drop it now anyway. Stop me if you. No, you're not gonna stop me. I'm
Oh.
getting a puppy.
No.
I'm getting puppy, and it's gonna be here very, very soon. So I'm gonna be a puppy mama as well. So I have now apartment, job, and puppy.
Yay.
The
When
perfect
will the
mate.
world burn? Now I'm scared. That is what I'm like. Where is the catastrophe coming?
I thought that was pretty much from 2019 till now, like just in general.
Yeah. So now everything is happening. Well, we'll see. So yeah, I'm getting a little dog, a little puppy dog. So yeah, that's been my months. A lot happening. Okay. Crumpet, what have you been up to?
In game, I've just kind of been hanging out with my UK club a lot. We've been exploring lots of fun events and just hanging about. But we've also been exploring a new game. And I've been obsessed with Dead by Daylight recently. Just
I
been
noticed.
grinding, just constantly playing it. But yeah, we've been playing that. And then in real life, I just finished my first year of university.
Congratulations!
So that's nice. So I'm just still waiting on a couple of my results. But hopefully it will be okay. And then I also found out that the girl that I'm meant to be moving in with in September got into my university.
Ooh.
Which is great because now we can move in together and that's all like prepared so we can
Cool.
start flat hunting, which is very
Cool.
fun. So it's all kind of just been finishing up with work and uni and now just on to enjoying the summer holidays, hopefully.
Oh. 2020 is your year as well. 2021, I mean.
Yeah.
2020 is crap.
Yeah, 2020 is not
What
good.
year is this?
I don't even know. When everyone says, "Oh, that happened 2019," I was like, "Was that so long ago?"
I know.
So weird. Okay, cool. And Puff, what have you been up to?
Star Stable wise, my club has been preparing for a competition right after we just finished another one. So we've been very busy, but we also had time for an event week, which was really nice for my members. We had a lot of fun. In real life, I just finished my internship and my 3-year college program. However, I do have to take another semester just to make up classes, but it's like 4 classes and I'm done. So that feels nice, and I've just been working, and I'm preparing to buy myself a pet bird or 2. So.
Oh, cool! What kind of birds?
I really, really, really want to get a cockatiel, but they're so rare around here, and so they're very expensive. So I'm probably going to have to get 2 budgies, which I'm perfectly fine with, but I would have loved to get a cockatiel.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah, but budgies are so cute as well.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, you will have to post bird stuff, because that's my only entertainment. Birds.
For sure.
Nice. Well, it seems like it's been pretty okay for everyone. Yet, still. It hasn't been too... Like, I understand, Cece, it's very rough still with the job hunt, and I guess for you, TC, it's the same. Yeah. I'm rooting for you both. It will happen soon. Hopefully sooner. Soon. Okay. Okay, moving over. So, for this episode, we will have more... Because, let's face it, we're not experts. Even though I know there are some of us here who have tried, but me, TC, and Cece are not experts in this field. So we figured it was better to have a more of an interview based for Puff and Crumpet that we will start with. But we will have a little tiny open discussion at the end, and then we do the usual stuff with the favorite and least favorite update of the month and all that. Yes. So, are we ready to dive into this topic? I am, because I need info.
Yes, I am ready.
Okay, let's start. How does a usual week look for your dressage club? Would you say that it is a standard schedule for all dressage clubs? Let's start with Puff.
So my dressage club, we have practice Monday, Tuesday. They have Wednesday off. They have practice Thursday, Friday, event Saturday, and meeting Sunday. However, depending on if it's crunch time for competitions, we might have to put practice on Wednesdays. So sometimes they don't get a day off. However, we do like to make sure that they have a lot of fun events to make sure they're not being too stressed out. I feel that is very standard. It all depends on how strict your dressage club is and how much your club really competes, because you do need a lot of practice for your routines. So for dressage clubs like the one I own, we love doing competitions and making routines. So that's pretty much what you're going to find for clubs like that. Whereas there's other dressage clubs that don't do it as seriously, and so they'll have more days off and stuff like that.
Interesting. Okay. And Crumpet?
We're a little bit different. So I run a dressage team in amongst a lot of different disciplines within the UK club that I'm in, which is owned by Llama and Pear. It's Gladefield. And I run the dressage team for them. And now that I'm off from uni, it's kind of, we don't have a particular schedule, but I'm hoping to kind of make it so that we just practice on Mondays or we just practice on Wednesdays, things like that. In my old NA dressage club that I used to be in, it was pretty similar to Puff's schedule. We would switch about sometimes just to give others a break, and quite often we would have like the beginners do one bit, and then intermediate have a different practice, and then advanced have a different practice, and then obviously competitions. It all kind of depends on the club and depends on everyone's free times. I know usually like when it comes to a competition that everyone's preparing for, it tends to get a little bit more busier for the poor members who are having to log on, or practices getting extended for a few hours. But yeah, just kind of here and there.
But it's still a very, it's at least weekly training. Like it's gonna be at least 2 times a week, it sounds like.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's different when you're, if you're a particular like competition club, when you're wanting to go for those big comps, then yeah, definitely the schedule is a crucial part. But if you're kind of just in it for fun and just kind of wanting to learn a bit about it, then it's definitely a little bit more relaxed.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Any tips on how to keep your members motivated through the intense training, which we now know is intense? How do you do it, Puff?
As I mentioned, we do have a lot of events, but also, so we have ranks in our club where if you're in the applicant stage, you have 2 practices a week, and we do a lot of events with them. And so they're basically learning the fundamentals and basics of our club. So when they actually get in the club, they're training to go up to comp team. And so we like to have them make their own routines. They get to practice commanding. So practices are never the same, where they're just always doing the same moves. They're really doing a bunch of different things to test their knowledge and keeping them interested in dressage. But also, we do a lot more like fun things, like filming a dressage edit, or just having like I said, fun events, or we play other games together. So we make sure that the club isn't just strictly dressage. We make sure it's like, oh, we're a club where we hang out together and we share a hobby of dressage. So that's how we make it.
Cool. Any tips from you, Crumpet?
I think, definitely having a lot of fun with it. I can think of many funny memories of trying to record for a competition and people just like messing up and like, providing the environment of being like, it's okay if you mess up, like it's absolutely fine, like that's what practices are for. And when you're filming for a competition, you can redo it. So definitely there's a lot of funny moments, particularly because I'm obviously in the UK, my time zone is a lot different to the American time zone. So whenever I was practicing for the American clubs, it would be like 3 a.m. for me. So I think we all got a little bit delirious, and it was very interesting. But I think just definitely having a lot of fun with it, making sure that everyone feels like it's a good environment to teach in, and people are okay to ask questions, and they're all like happy. I think also like obviously a variety of things. If you might have one practice which is all about partner moves, and one practice which is all about intermediate moves, or one about follow moves and things like that, can really help And also, I always have a game at the end of my practices. So it just kind of gives them a bit of downtime, but also something to look forward to at the end. So yeah, definitely kind of those tips.
Yeah, so sort of do a little bit of variety. It's not military training.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it looks like it.
Sometimes it feels like it.
Okay.
Aw.
Okay, moving on. Do you then have any tips on how to prepare your dressage club for competition? Puff?
Definitely you have to plan ahead. As soon as a competition is announced, I have to decide whether we're going to do it or not, because we need to start planning right away. You really want to make sure you know how many riders that you're able to compete with, and also you just need to make sure that those riders are able to take on what you're asking of them. So different competitions will have different requirements, and sometimes you might have to go outside of your comfort zone to meet those requirements. And if your members are not prepared for that, then maybe it's not a competition for you. And so I like to personally discuss with my members how they feel, if they would like to compete, and then any ideas that they have that we could bring to the table in a routine. So just making sure that my members feel ready and interested in the competition.
Cool. And Crumpet, do you have any tips?
I think, yeah, basically what Puff said, definitely having that communication. I think sometimes quite often members get really surprised when like they're like, oh, we're entering this competition, because they don't realize that like someone's like made that decision. I also think that, you know, if you're a beginner or kind of like a new dressage club, it's really good to kind of find smaller competitions and don't kind of go for the generic big ones, just because it's a ruthless world out there, and a small club can be quite disheartened sometimes if they get a low score. I mean, even big clubs are disheartened when they get a low score and things like that. And, you know, if you're in a competition with, you know, 60, 70 odd clubs, it can be very difficult. Whereas, like, if you begin with, like, the smaller competitions where you're going against 3, maybe 10 different clubs, then, you know, it's a good way to kind of warm yourselves up and kind of begin the kind of dressage world, I suppose. But yeah, definitely picking the right competition for you is definitely something that you should have a look into.
Good tips. What does a typical competition practice look like then, Puff?
So I have something in my club's Discord server called Routine Help, and that is where I will brainstorm parts of the routine, and I'll send it there with visual drawings and explanations. And so when they show up to practice, they're already they have an idea of what they're going to be doing. And so we'll go over whatever I came up with, and if we need to fix anything, then we will right away. And then I will typically run through it a few times and make sure that they are used to it. If there's anything that we can make more interesting, then we'll do that. And I also, if we have time, will go through any ideas that they have, and once we're done, we just kind of keep going with, making ideas and then sending it and having them prepare for it before they show up to practice, because that really saves a lot of time. So we want to make sure we're not wasting our valuable time to prepare for a competition. So they will constantly be coming to me and say, hey, we end in this spot over here, what if we did this? And then I will let the whole team know, we show up to practice, and then we do that.
Cool. Okay, and what do you do, Crumpet, for practice?
It kind of follows the same principle. I mean, some clubs will do they'll have a specific full routine already mapped out, and then they teach the routine. But I think always, you provide a kind of skeleton routine, I suppose, the way that I kind of like to describe it. And then you kind of go in, add different details, or maybe there's something that doesn't actually quite work, because it might work in your head, and then you get into the game and it just doesn't work at all. So you just kind of have to redo a little bit or have a look. But also at the moment where the camera is positioned in the arena, it can be a certain move that you really like. You view it from the camera and it doesn't give it justice at all. So just trying to manipulate that slightly, or change it into a different position and things like that. It's definitely very much trial and error. You know, you always find something and then, you know, it might not work, or it might really, really work, or that might be a better idea. Just kind of teamwork, communication, trying to figure out what would be best. You know, there might be certain members, or, you know, the team itself might be really struggling with a bit of the routine, and just kind of maybe adapting it to make it slightly easier for them, or maybe something that's more in their strengths. So just definitely adapting and just changing and switching about until you finally have like a good routine.
Something else I would like to mention is when you're getting to the point of recording, competition practices is getting through 30 seconds of the routine, somebody messes up, restarting. Getting through 45 seconds, somebody messes up, restarting. And it's constant, over and over, redoing the same parts of the routine over and over, just because somebody will mess up one little thing. And so it does get pretty tiring, and that's basically what the end of the comp practices look like when you're close to submitting a recording one. So it can be pretty exhausting. And so I like to give usually a week for filming, so it's not like 3 hours of constant restarting the one night that we have to film. I like to give us a few days, so I'm not exhausting my members with those types of practices.
So you find out about a competition. Do you find that usually the people who host those competitions give you enough time to actually put that kind of work into it? Is there like a standard amount of time between when a competition opens and whenever it closes?
It all depends on where you're looking for your competition. So personally, my club competes in Star Stable Dressage, owned by April Purple Knight, and they have things like many different competitions, and we typically like to compete in regional ranking competitions, and those can be several months apart with different types of competitions in between. That's like maybe a duo competition that we won't necessarily go for. So we do have several months in between if we're lucky, because, you know, they constantly want to be putting out competitions and making sure everything's running smoothly. So sometimes you do have to maybe sit out of one in order to give yourselves enough time to sit back and relax. But typically you have enough time to come up with a routine and get it ready to submit.
Okay, so this is, for some reason, I saw this all being like a lot of clubs gathering and doing this live for each other, but this is something you recorded and you send in to the judges.
Yeah, so it's kind of, if you did it live, so obviously Star Stable has a cap of how many members you can see at once in one space. And obviously if you have a dressage team of, you know, 8 to 16 members, and you've got 10 plus clubs competing, plus people who may turn up to, you know, watch, and then obviously the judges also watching, it's impossible to try and see everyone. So I think kind of live competitions went out the window slightly. I'm hoping that they might make an appearance back soon, and maybe people might kind of put in a cap of, you know, different clubs, and maybe having like 5 clubs that make it through, or something like that, to kind of bring the live element back into dressage. But primarily it's moved definitely to video, especially considering, you know, you have clubs all around the world that are trying to compete, and trying to do that live limits you to your region. So having it on video just makes international
and server
just,
for some.
It just makes it just a lot more easier. But yeah, definitely.
Do you then, because I can imagine all of you do it like then in the riding arena, do you rely on the camera in there, or do you do it from like that one camera?
The camera is our savior.
Okay.
Yeah.
So something tells me you would like to have that camera have more angles than just that. Okay, good.
Yes,
please.
Just a little side note there, but okay. Okay, moving on.
So this question is for Crumpet. How do you register to compete in dressage competitions, and where do you find information about those competitions?
So, like Puff said, there is a kind of, I suppose you could say, like a big hub for dressage, which is the Star Stable Dressage server. I currently I'm a manager in that server. So it's actually very interesting being in that position, because you basically see all of the different teams that are at work and loads of different things And that kind of particular server, you find all of the information about competitions in the set category in the Discord server. And you don't necessarily register for those competitions. You just get ready and, you filmed your video, you prepare, and then when you go to submit your video, that's kind of you registering, I suppose. And then in other kind of servers, there's lots of different clubs that do their own competitions. There might be an individual person who might create their own competition, like complete server. There was a couple of competitions in the past that have just been like a particularly associated around one theme and a whole name, and then they just make a Discord server about that competition. But I think most competitions are always advertised on social media. So you'll always find an Instagram post, you'll always find maybe a YouTube video. Sometimes big competitions might do a trailer if it's like a main big competition. You'll always find it there. I know a lot of clubs will do it in their open servers. So a lot of dressage clubs have open servers that they advertise their dressage competition. So it's kind of where you want to go. Obviously, the Star Stable Dressage is a huge server. So it's definitely got a lot of clubs competing, and it's quite a big competition. So if you are looking for those smaller competitions, it's definitely worth checking out different open servers, different Dressage Club open servers. I actually think Saturn Mains, I think you guys are hosting a competition at the moment.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm glad I remembered it. Yeah, so like obviously Saturn Mains are doing a competition at the moment, and then I think there's a couple of other clubs that are doing different competitions. And then, yeah, it's always usually shared around on social media, so definitely just keeping your eyes out on social media pages and following particular dressage clubs that you might be interested in, or the bigger ones, to definitely find different informations.
And a question for Puff. Are there different types of dressage competitions in SSO?
Yeah, so as you heard, there were live competitions, I'll say, and those used to be like maybe 5 dressage clubs, and they were always the same clubs back in 2018 who would always be at these live shows competing. And now they've moved more to recording, so you send in a non-edited video from the camera in the riding arena, and it's judged that way. But there's also, whether it be live or recording, there's competitions for solos, duets, trios, there any shapes, sizes, not just clubs. There's also groups. There's a lot more dressage groups popping out that we see, where you could be in a club and still take part in this competitive dressage group. You don't necessarily have to join a club to get that. And so there's different types of competitions for all types of riders and what you're looking for.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it's just I'm just still pretty amazed how big this is.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Has gotten. Okay, but then moving on to, well, we're talking about competition, but moving more since, great, Puff, that you are doing a competition, because how do you then organize a competition?
We typically like when competitions hosted by clubs have a meaning behind it. So we hosted one in the past, and that was for New Year's. And the one that we are hosting now is to celebrate our 2 years as a club. And so we took that and we wanted to have a theme with it. So since we're celebrating the club's 2 years and our club is space themed, we decided to call it Out of This World. And we had to come up with the different requirements. So how many riders do they need to have? Can it be just clubs, or will it be clubs and groups? Are you going to have different levels? So sometimes a competition will have for more beginner and then more advanced, depending on where certain clubs feel they fit in. So the Out of This World competition that we're hosting, we have Class A and Class B, where Class A is for maybe smaller dressage clubs that have a lot more lenient requirements, and then Class B is for advanced dressage clubs that have stricter requirements. So after we figure out that, we need to know how long does the routine need to be. Does the routine need to start in the arena, or do they need to use the arena entrance? Because we have the lovely global store where our characters can be hidden in the arena and then suddenly appear in a formation, and you can start like that. So it depends how you want them to start. Do you want them to exit, or do you want them to have a cool exit with the ignore feature or with global store? And also, sometimes you need to have your routine to music. So you will have to edit music onto your thing. We are not having that because I did that once. It was quite hard for me to figure out. So it's really about like what requirements do these clubs or groups need to have, and then how much time do you want to give them, and then how are you going to announce it. So we used our open server and also our Instagram, so we tried to get as many people to see it as possible. And we also need to figure out who's judging, so that would be myself and my 2 leaders. And we also need to figure out the score sheet, so what are we grading them on, and how much does each section count towards their score? So it's really a lot of behind the scenes stuff before you actually announce it.
Okay. And Crumpet, have you ever organized a competition, or do you know how it works?
I personally, I think I ever have organized my own competition, but I do help the comp managers in the Star Stable Dressage server out with their kind of competition stuff. But also I am I suppose you could say kind of the representative. So within that server we have registered clubs, which is just like particular clubs who may often compete in the Star Stable Dressage competitions, and who apply, and then we accept them based on kind of their practice and organization and all of those kind of things. Saturn Mains is one of them. And we I'm the one that kind of organizes them, but also relays their feedback and anything that they want kind of to see in the server, I suppose. For that kind of aspect, I chat to a lot of club owners, and then kind of relay that information onto the comp managers. So there's lots of different kind of teams that do different things. For the comp managers, they particularly kind of lay out what kind of competitions they want when. They might not actually have all of the kind of requirements and all of the information there and then, but they'll be like, right, okay, we want to host a regional rankings competition in July, let's say, and then we want to host another competition in this kind of date or maybe this kind of month. Or we want to do we want to do a Christmas competition this year, maybe a Halloween competition, but also kind of balancing that out with those that aren't particularly for clubs. So they might balance out with maybe solo competitions or duo competitions, all of those kind of things. So they kind of plan that in advance and then kind of go in and then fill in the details as they kind of start popping up. Obviously, as Puff said, got lots and lots of requirements to think about. There might be a particular competition that's all about a particular theme. So, for example, if you had a Christmas competition, you might be like, okay, let's add in a Christmas kind of theme aspect that they are judged on. So they have to have like maybe a Christmas themed dressage moves, different kind of things like that. Or, sometimes it's outfits. Some clubs get very, very creative and they change outfits midway through the routine. Or they switch out. There's so many really fun possibilities that, clubs will come up with. Obviously using the global store feature, you can hide, and then suddenly, there might be another like 8 riders that suddenly come in with a completely different horse. So it's definitely interesting, and I definitely could say that every single dressage competition that you will find is completely different. There will never be like the same competition all the time. There's always different kind of themes, different names, different kind of aspects to each competition. So there might be a competition that doesn't fit you, and you're like, actually, you know what, I don't really like that kind of thing, or I'm not really into that kind of theme. There's always something else. But definitely just thinking about the requirements at first, because obviously every single club needs to know the requirements. How many riders are we allowed? Are we allowed to start from inside the arena? Are we allowed to start outside the arena? Do we have to finish with all riders present? Do we have to finish, can we just ignore and finish like that? And then obviously displaying the score sheet as well can be quite crucial. because obviously clubs need to know what they're actually being critiqued on, because they can then aim to try and make sure that they are pushing their difficulty level up, for example, or making sure that they know exactly which themes to portray within their routines. Maybe there might be a story aspect to the competition. And then the kind of, then you would obviously have the judges' comments and all of that within the score sheet, and they obviously get given back to the club owners. So it's really important that you have a good score sheet layout. Often most people use like Google Docs and just lay out everything and have everything that you need. So yeah, just definitely thinking about absolutely every single aspect that comes to a competition and planning that out beforehand before then releasing it to the public.
Something that you brought up was Christmas competitions. That reminds me of the first competition that Saturdays competed in, the Jingle Jig. We, halfway through the routine, switched our horses to reindeers. So that was something unique that we did.
Sounds cool. Yeah. Awesome. Or I could see maybe you all using like a Hadron, and in the middle he turns magic.
Exactly,
yeah.
Now that there's
exactly.
a magic toggle button.
The possibilities.
Definitely gonna see a lot of clubs using that.
Nice. Okay. But how do you judge a competition? How do you choose judges? Puff.
When you judge a competition, you really want to make sure that you, first of all, are looking at what exactly you're catering to for this competition. So, for example, since we have Class A and Class B, whereas Class A is less advanced, we're maybe not going to be as strict and focus more on giving a lot more constructive criticism and feedback, whereas the more advanced dressage clubs, we will be a bit more nitpicky with things, and we will still give them constructive feedback and all that. We always do, but we're definitely going to be a lot more tougher on them, especially because they chose that class. They know what comes with it. And so you want to make sure that as a judge, you're not being too harsh, but you're being harsh enough for them to learn. It's all about learning from your mistakes, or even just taking a really good routine and maybe finding a way you can make it even better, because I feel like there's always that possibility. So you want to choose judges that are going to be able to fit that criteria of they know how to give good feedback and they have experience with dressage, because you want to have your judge know exactly what they're looking for and exactly how to grade that.
Okay. And Crumpet, same question.
Yeah, definitely. It's you definitely want to make sure that judges know what they're looking at. There's so many dressage moves that people could do. Different clubs will do different ones. They'll make up their own and things like that. So you obviously can't anticipate what kind of move they're gonna do. But there's kind of basic moves that make up all of these other different moves, so you can kind of see those elements, I suppose. I mean, in terms of the big server in Star Stable Dressage, some judges are picked out from existing staff members, particularly the instructors within that server, because obviously they've been through an instructor test and they know what they're doing. And then, for those big regional rankings, competitions, which then class for clubs to get into internationals, there's kind of a judging panel. So there might be, I can't remember how many, there might be 6 or 7 or 8 of us, and we all will maybe switch in and out of different regional ranking competitions, but there's always the set 4. And then if people need to switch out, then they can switch out. But there's always that set amount of people. So it kind of keeps the consistency in terms of judging, particularly for those competitions. But if you're gonna do a lot of competitions as a server, you're gonna do that, or as a club, definitely just making sure that you think about what you're doing and think about kind of how you're gonna portray it. So are you gonna send them the score sheet and judges' comments, or how are you gonna write out their judges' comments, and making sure people are comfortable with judging? I think in terms of judging comments, me personally, whenever I'm judging routines, I'll always look for kind of a positive sandwich is the way that I kind of see it. So you're looking at a positive, then you might find maybe a negative or something that they can improve on, and then, you know, following it up with another positive. So it's not all, you know, you did this wrong, you did that wrong, you did this wrong, that wasn't good. Like, you have to kind of have a good balance, because, you know, it's a very difficult thing to do in competitions and routines. It's extremely difficult, especially with screen delay and things like that, and internet issues and lag, all of those things. So you always have to take that into consideration. And then, you know, providing obviously that useful comments that clubs can take back and really improve on. It is, honestly, I love judging particularly those competitions, just because, you know, you might see a club in one competition and you tell them the feedback, and then in the next competition you see them and they like pop off. They are like on top of it. They've taken all of your feedback on score, and you're just like, oh my god, look at them go. Literally in like all of the judges chats and all of those things that we're all like chatting about, we're just like, oh my god, I love the fact that like these clubs are popping off, like they're so good. Like, we hype everyone up, and like whenever I'm like judging a competition and I'm watching the video, I'm like sitting there like really hyped. I'm like, yes, you get that curl, you get these. I'm so excited about it, and I love it. I love seeing the improvisation that some people do, and the creativity that comes out. It's just, yeah, it's amazing to watch some of these clubs that just, oh, honestly, they come up with so many fun ideas and different moves. It's great.
Cool. I'm glad that you get something out of it. Like, you get excited for them. Okay. Are there any clothes and outfits regulation to follow for competing? You did mention theme, so I guess that is an important factor. Puff.
Yeah, so I feel like in the past, especially for live competitions, it was very important to have matching outfits, or at least a pattern or something, if not everyone's going to be matching perfectly. Now it's kind of harder to see from the camera. However, there are requirements like send a picture of your team and all shown in the picture. So, but that could be edited or whatever. So it's not much of a thing that we grade anymore. However, if there are specific themes, I'm just going to throw in an example. The 8-ball competition that SSD hosted, some people just stuck with their club outfit, and other people went with a ballroom theme outfit. So we were planning on competing in that competition, and we ended up not being able to make it in time, but we had outfits of like suits and dresses, and we were going to have half our riders in one and half in the other, and we were going to have what seemed like women in dresses and in the suits, and then men in the dresses and the suits, because we wanted it to cater to everybody. Yeah. So we were going to play around with hair, which, you know, sometimes people are, I feel, way too strict, where, oh, well, this person had green hair and it doesn't match your outfit, so I'm going to mark you off. Whereas a commander, I like to have my members have crazy hair, because when you're from the camera and you need to call it for a specific member to be at this specific spot, you're able to easily point them out. So that's my little trick. So if you watch any of our routine videos and you see someone like bright red hair, it's like, oh, that was her marker for that competition.
Yeah. Cool. Crumpet, are there any clothes and outfits regulations to follow for competing that you are thinking about, or would you say you agree with Puff?
Yeah, I definitely agree with Puff. It's, you know, if there's a particular theme with a competition, then, you know, you tend to theme your outfit with that competition. But also every club has their own club uniform. They might have their own dressage uniform. That's what it is in my club's case. We have our own dressage uniform. I mean, a lot of clubs will maybe alter their uniform slightly, but kind of keep their original club uni in there. It definitely depends, you know, obviously clothes cost quite a bit on Star Stable. So if, you know, a lot of club members are having to buy a club horse and things like that, it depends on members and if they're happy to pay maybe a star coins or Jorvik shillings for something. But if it's a particular competition that's based around outfits, or there's an aspect of the scoring to outfits, then it's usually kind of regulated through that, and how best they show the theme. But in terms of just normal outfits, you know, as long as it's kind of dressage attire, I suppose. But like horses, it's, you know, clubs have competed in Jorvik ponies and Jorvik wild horses. They've done anything and everything, any kind of horse they've competed on. So there's nothing really kind of gatekeeping on that. It's all kind of, yeah, go for it. Wherever you want to go with it, that you can.
Okay, cool. Speaking of horses, are there some horse breeds that are used more than others? And is it a standard that everyone in a club use the same horse?
Yeah, definitely the Frisians are very, very common in the arenas. But it seems like people have really been branching out with different breeds lately. So you will see the Arabians, you'll see the Knapstrippers, you will see, what are some other breeds? There's a lot. Lippies, the Lippizanders. You will see English Thoroughbreds. You will see Hanoverians. The basic ones that you typically find in the arenas in real life. However, some people like to get more creative, where they will have, as Crumpet mentioned, Jorvik Wilds. They'll have ponies. I know that for the recent Christmas competition, we used the Icelandics and we did their tolt because we felt like they were fluffy for Christmas, and just dressed them up in Christmas attire, and we had them tolting around the arena, and my members loved it. So
I think
that was really
judged
fun.
That competition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember
is
watching
so
that
hard.
routine, and I remember being like, yes, get this Olympics.
Well, that must have been so hard because their tolt is so fast.
Oh my.
Yeah.
You have no idea, especially because we decided to, after we were done filming, do the routine on the ice in the winter village. And that was a mess. So it was hard enough in the arena, and then we decided to do it on ice, and that they were everywhere.
Wow.
Whee! Okay, nice though. That is cool. Crumpet, same question.
I think, yeah, pretty much the ones that Puff mentioned, but clubs kind of go haywire with it. You know, there's no... I mean, there might be a couple of people that'll be like, why are you doing dressage on a pony? But, like, you know, it's a horse game, you know? So definitely just kind of everyone just going at it with whatever horse they feels fit. And the same
Or
with,
a
like...
reindeer.
Or a reindeer, you know? Just a casual reindeer that gets thrown about. And the same with, like, coats. There might be, like, a particular coat that everyone uses for normal, like, competitions or normal practices or club kind of practices. Or, you know, you might find different people pattern them. So one member might have a white version, and then the other might have a different one, and then it kind of patterns throughout the line. Which can look really, really pretty, especially when you're doing partner moves, because you've kind of partnered up the breeds. And then the same with, you know, there might be a story competition where people have a backstory to their routine, and they'll use particular horse breeds to portray that kind of character almost, you know, so there might be, off the top of my head, there might be a couple of people who've done kind of good and evil. You might have, like, different breeds for what you would class as kind of more like a angelic, I suppose, or kind of like a good kind of breed, and then, you know, the evil, dark kind of breeds that you might use, and then other people kind of pick and choose. So, yeah, it really kind of depends on the competition and the club. But honestly, you could just use any horse for dressage.
yes, of course. But it still feels like it is that there has to be like still like a pattern. You haven't seen any that just pick your favorite horse and there's just a mix of all different kinds of breeds and sizes in one routine.
Yeah, I suppose like if you have like a different sizes, so for my particular dressage practices, I allow all of my members to bring whatever dressage breed they want. But, you know, sometimes that can be difficult because you might have a Frisian and then someone on, like, a Gotland pony, and the size difference and trying to, like, line up lines. And especially if you've got, like, if you're thinking about the screen delay and the alignment and things like that, if you haven't got the same breed of horse, it does impact the routine because, you know, there might be a different size that you're on and then the spacing kind of goes off. Or it looks unneat. So you'll find if you watch routines, most clubs will pair horses together. So there might be half of them using a Frisian and then the other half using another breed. So they kind of tend to pair them up even. So it's kind of, it depends. You know, you do see, you know, I've watched routines with mismatched horses and it's not that bad. Like it's not like I would kind of mark them down on it. Obviously it will impact their spacing and things like that, but obviously you just take that into consideration. But yeah, definitely easier to be all on the same breed, but you know, some clubs just prefer to do it just whenever they want to.
Okay.
Yeah, one breed that we both forgot to mention was the Andalusian. That's used a lot too.
Yeah.
And so, as Crumpet mentioned, there will be patterns. So some clubs like to do black, white, black, white, black, white. So then when you split up the lines, it's one black line, one white line. And you can do cool moves with that. There's other clubs. So the typical black, white pattern, I know Red Champions does that. I know Silver Fox's Nation use Arabians, and it's any color of Arabian you want. So there's no particular pattern, there's no specific color, it's just go buy your favorite Arabian and that's what you use. And for Saturn mains, we use the Bay Snowflake Nab Stripper. And some clubs, I feel like it's more common now to have second club horses, and so we have the White Leopard Frisian as our second club horse. So you'll see clubs have usually 2, sometimes more club horses, and so they might alternate which breed they use in routines or have both of them in, or you know, something like that.
Cool. Okay. How do you handle technical difficulties like lag and the limitation of number of people in one place? Now, you did mention this is because of why you're doing it on video, but have you noticed it as well when training and stuff, Puff?
Yes. It's really funny, but also disheartening when you're getting the perfect recording and then someone freezes. And you're like, no! So, you know, we kind of, it's something that we expect. So if it happens, it's like, okay, not the end of the world. Like, you have to prepare for it. If you go in thinking it's just going to be butterflies, unicorns, rainbows, no lag, you're going to be very disappointed. So you have to prepare for the lag, and, you know, it's tough, but you get through it. And sometimes one person has a significant amount of lag compared to someone else, but they're able to still be in the routine. So when we do gaps, you have to be inside the horse ahead of you. And so this person who has more lag might just have to be farther up ahead. So, you know, their timing will still be good, but maybe they have more screen delay because of their lag, so they just have to adjust to that. But I remember, this is just a funny story to add, we were filming for internationals last year, and we were struggling hardcore with just people messing up, lag, all that. And I always kept telling my members, just one more time, we got this, one more time. And one of my members actually got grounded. So it was so funny. Yeah, one of my members got grounded. It was so funny. And then her mom came up to me and was like, hey, like, let me know if you need me to ground her again. And I was like, yeah, you got it. So it's like a running joke in the club now. But yeah, we have backups, and it was like, this person's really lagging, can you step in? It's like, no, I gotta log off. And I was like, just once? So it was really funny.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Technical difficulties is everything. Crumpet, how do you handle those stuff?
In terms of like on the other side of behind the scenes, you know, if there's a particular time that Star Stable might be having some trouble with lag, we'll have to extend competitions, which tend to have a knock-on effect. You know, if you're extending one competition by 2 weeks, then you need to extend the next one by 2 weeks to give them time. So definitely kind of, extending things, because to judge a laggy competition routine, it's not bad at all. Like, if I've seen lots of routines that are extremely laggy, and it's not their fault, it's out of their control, it's nothing on their end or any skill wise or anything to do with the routine, it's completely just technical. So we don't mark down, we just try our best to kind of judge around it. Obviously there might be sometimes, you know, it does affect judging in terms of alignment and looking at spacing and things like that, because it will be off and it's a lot more difficult for clubs. But yeah, if it's kind of a global, everyone is struggling with lag, then we'll often extend. And then if, you know, there might be an issue with the forums or an issue with something like that, you know, there's always someone around that you can DM and just be like, hey, we're having issues with this. Do you mind if we like have maybe like, you know, can I send it to you instead of doing it this way? There's always something that people can do to try and help. So yeah, it's definitely something that could be interesting. From my experience in actually being in the dressage routine, my connection to the NA servers are not great because obviously I'm not in NA. So yeah, often I would crash in the middle of a routine.
Oof.
And it can be really disheartening, like Puff said, but it can be quite funny. And you just kind of have to get up and do it again, brush yourself off, you know, get back into the mindset and go for it again. But usually there's always something. And if there's just like a little, you know, a lag bump, or there's always like a dressage bump, then judges will always take into consideration and just work a way around it, because it's not your fault, it's out of your control. So yeah.
Okay, cool. And then the last question for you both. If someone in the team gets sick, do you have stand-ins? Puff.
If you're lucky. So
Okay.
we like to base how many members we're going to have in a routine based off of, first of all, the requirement, but also how many backups will be available, because we don't want to have a 12-person routine with one backup, because you're definitely going to need more than one. So then we'll go down to maybe 10 or 8 riders. So we do have backups. We try to have them at every practice, and although they get to sit on the table quite a lot, they are actively learning and watching. They're hearing the explanations so they know exactly how things work. And we also will substitute them in sometimes so they can get practice. And a lot of the times, people can't make it to practice every day. So these backups will go in, and they will also be learning different spots compared to one of the main competitors who might just know their spot. So I personally believe that your backups are more important than your mains, because these backups need to learn this routine from like 5 different spots. So we had one person who, this was back at internationals, she did every single spot throughout our whole time practicing, that she knew this routine inside and out from every aspect. And we were gonna make a joke and film her doing every spot by herself and put it together because it would have worked. But yeah, so backups are usually accounted for more than the actual members, because we have to make sure we have enough in case anything goes wrong. And also, a lot of the times we plan on filming and somebody can't make it that day. So we're stuck without one of our mains, so we need to make sure our backups are prepared. So it's not just treating them as backups, it's treating them as, you know, sometimes more than the main people, because they really need to know what's going on.
Okay. And Crumpet?
Yeah, exactly. Basically what Puff said. I always said, if I was teaching a dressage competition, like routine or practice, I always said that, you shouldn't feel disheartened if you're a backup. You know, that is probably more important than the actual riders who are riding it themselves, because you know, as a backup, you obviously have to learn and be prepared to be thrown in at the deep end, and, you know, just jump in if you have to. But also it's really good experience, just kind of being there for competition practices, jumping in when needed, and kind of learning different routines, different parts. It really gets you used to kind of if you're an A or a B, kind of those things. So yeah, I always say backups are extremely important, but extremely lucky. A lot of clubs don't have the privilege of being able to have a backup, because, you know, there might be 8 riders and you might only have 10 people in your club. So it's all kind of pick and choose a little bit, and sometimes you just have to kind of go with what you've got, and, you know, if something happens, then something happens, and you just kind of have to shrug it off, go for the next one, or just try and work your way around it. But definitely backups. If there's anyone that is a backup, don't be disheartened about it. Honestly, they are so important and they have such a crucial job. They're probably, very, very good at what they do.
Oh, that was nice. That was a nice ending. You backups rule.
Yeah.
You rule. Oh, well, that was, as I said, the last question to you experts. We are now moving over to the more open discussion where we other 3 are included, which will be nice to discuss. The first question is, where do you think dressage clubs will be in a year? Depending on everything we've seen, Cece, what do you think?
Oh gosh, considering like how much they've grown since the last time that we talked about dressage, I think the sky's the limit, really. I think the only thing that's going to be limiting is the features that are provided within the game. Yeah. If those are going to expand and how they'll expand. Whether live competitions will kind of get a revival, or if it's going to move more and sort of stay in the format that it is right now of recording routines and submitting them.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with you that it is the game right now does the limits. I do know there are some cons more focused towards. Well, I do know there's like a club con, but I got the feeling it was kind of sort of focused towards dressage, even though it was supposed to be open for all. I'm not quite sure, but I can see like in a year there are gonna be so many dressage clubs cons, where they're gonna be maybe live streaming the competitions in some weird way. They managed to like someone connects the dot of all the recordings. I don't know. Maybe even it would be fun if some people for a Star Stable tried.
I've wanted to ask people if they wanted to try several times, and I was just like, maybe later.
Well, you have me. Fine, I'll do it, even though it's very, very scary. What do you think, Cece?
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, with the game, there's limitations to what new stuff you can come up with. The community is so creative, so who knows, really? The sky's the limit, as Cece said. Yeah, anything can happen, really. But it would be really interesting to follow.
Yeah. As Cece said, so much has happened just from a year.
Yeah, definitely.
And then you, Crumpet and Puff, where do you think it's gonna be in a year? You who are actually in it. Let's start with Puff.
Well, I've had my fears of it coming to an end in the past, and it never happened. So, you know, I'm still worried that it'll die down, but people are always coming up with new moves and more creative routines and more creative competitions to push those limits. And so I feel as long as there's a demand for it, it'll keep going.
What would you? I'm just sliding in here, but since you basically only can use the arena right now, maybe something that would be fun then in the future would be if there were more arenas that had that kind of camera feature.
Yes. Like, that would be a dream come true, especially because although we do have the little eye feature to hide other people now, if there's still a lot of people in the arena, during practice times, it still is laggy whether you see those people or not. So it would be nice to have different arenas. Also, different shapes and sizes. I know that when the open house at Jorvik Stables happens, there's a little dressage arena put in the big one. And it'd be cool if we could have something like that, and then competitions could be in that arena, and you have to use a smaller space, which is more challenging, which is always like fun for us, like find another challenge, so it's not always the same. So it'd be interesting to have more arenas to use, different shapes, different sizes, and all that.
Okay. And Crumpet, where do you think Dressage Clubs is within a year?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you, because the fact, like, they just come up with so many new things that I think it obviously definitely does depend on the game, and what kind of, you know, what the game kind of implements in the future and those kind of things. I'm hoping you'll start to see a little bit more live competitions. It's something definitely that's being pushed a little bit more in the Dressage server. I think we actually have a competition going which has a live aspect to it. So I think you'll probably see people being a little bit more creative in terms of live competitions. And I also think you'll see the rise of competition teams. So, you know, people who are from all different types of clubs, maybe clubless, and they get into kind of a group or a team, and they do like just a dressage team. And then they can compete in different team competitions. That seems to be something that's on the rise lately, which I think is really, really cool. So I think you'll see a lot more of that. And I think, honestly, you'll just kind of see a lot of dressage clubs grow. And I think just the sport in general will probably grow a lot. I'm hoping that, they're very, very creative, and I'm sure that there'll be lots of events and things that will play a part in, and dressage be a little bit more influential in that kind of aspect. But yeah, I feel like it will definitely grow.
Oh, okay. What do you then think? I already then put some ideas in there that I will bring to the team. What do you think Star Stable can provide to the game to enhance the experience for the clubs like these? Cece.
Well, to start with, definitely the riding arena needs an update. It's starting to look a little rough, not gonna lie. Also, like the camera angle, it's kind of from one corner, so maybe have different options for more camera angles. So you can switch it up from having like from the corner, from the top view and stuff like that. Yeah, and also like more options, so you're not limited to just the riding area. There are several nice paddocks, so that would be cool to see as well. And then maybe for the visual aspect, maybe an updated dressage saddle would be cool to see.
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be cool. Yeah. And TC, what do you think?
I think one of the first things is probably to fix the size of the riding hall, because that was the one thing that I got from the last time that we discussed it, is the fact that the riding hall is longer on one side than it is on the other, and that does make it, I suppose, harder, I would say, for those learning. I know that a lot of the ones who have been doing this a long time, you have got accustomed to that. But I think to have that fixed and have that updated, and to have more arenas, maybe one the same size as the riding hall somewhere else, more different paddocks that you can go in and hide people and have letters, as you've mentioned, Rose, many times, in more paddocks. Because it goes beyond just your dressage there. It's just for like lessons and things that people do. So I think those are some things that they could do. And for me personally, I just love to be able to do a lot more of these some of these special moves without having to be still. I feel like there's plenty more letters on your keyboard that could be used and assigned to special moves that you don't necessarily have to be at a standstill to do, or to be able to do them for as long as you want. So things like that, I feel like, could definitely open up those abilities, because at the minute, like, if you take the likes of is it Lusitano? No, it's not Lusitano. The Andalusian. you can only go so far with that move when you're at a standstill and then it stops. I liked that with the wilds, it was a little bit different. It was kind of like the Tolt with the Icelandics. You could kind of keep going, but it is limiting that you have to be in a certain, I guess, gate or at a standstill to do these things. So I think if that was adjusted in the future, that would definitely open up a lot of options for the dressage clubs.
Yeah, I agree. I already mentioned the camera angles because thinking about it, I'm like, it's kind of boring actually, because I remembered myself using the feature in the riding arena where it's not even covering all of the arena. I would like one that is like on both A and C ends. Just all around the corners. Basically, just have one camera going all around. Maybe it would be nice. Fixing the size of the arena, but I think just fixing all paddocks so they are more compatible and used for events in general, but also for the clubs would be very cool. I would like to see a more in-game feature to promote clubs in general, and also like for club where you could like post if you're having a competition, so you don't always have to go outside the game in a way.
Yeah.
It would be cool. I can imagine it can be difficult, but it would be nice if there was like a board somewhere where you could post something. I can imagine though that it would only be server wise maybe.
Yeah.
So it would be restricted, but still like some kind of feature to keep some communication within the game. Maybe make it easier for club owners to communicate to their members, make it easier that way. I can't say they will never be able to send pictures in the game. That's a no. Yeah. But just having a better schedule, a better mail system, just those kinds of stuff. Just update club feature in general.
Yeah.
I mean, one other thing that comes to mind, I kind of forgot it, was the lines on the Riding Hall arena. I did not realize that those lines were there until I had worked on that. Yeah, the music video. And then I was like, oh, this is how they line up and adjust things. And I was like, because I went on the Star Stable Dressage website and I looked at how to line yourself up with the person in front of you, how the lines on the ground were used. And I was like, wow, okay. So I feel like if that stuff gets updated, the paddocks, like, there should be some kind of lines, sort of guidelines, without them being so obvious that it affects taking pictures and things like that, because obviously you don't want to just have a grid line on the ground, but to have something there, because I think it's a really great guide for those learning.
Experts, what would you like Star Stable to do? Let's start with Puff.
A lot. First, I feel like updated dressage saddles are a must. The ones we have now kind of look like tires, in my opinion. If you like cut open a tire and just like, anyways. I also would really like, as I mentioned earlier, different size arenas and as well as the camera angles, because there is a beam blocking one of the corners right now, and it's not fun. Because I can't see if I'm calling a move if my member is about to hit a wall over there. I just kind of find out if they somehow are gone. And then, as well as fixing the uneven arena, it would be great if the camera could be accessible through the stands without the table being in the actual arena, so that would remove that problem. I would also really, really like if we could customize our like club role names. So, for example, we have like the standard like stable girl, member, trainee, that, and it would be awesome if we were able to edit that and make our own role names. So I'm able to put like comp team and then backups and then mini rings is what we call the people who are trying to train up to comp team, who are rings because of Saturn. So being able to name the different roles for what they are assigned to in the server would be really, really good, because it just causes less confusion. As well as you mentioned the like a news board or something. A lot of people who are starting out dressage clubs really struggle especially when you have to advertise in global, and this goes for
Yeah.
any club also. Especially now with the new system, we don't know what we're being flagged for, so you could type up a whole thing, and then it doesn't send. So it'd be cool if we had, like, club advertisements per server, and obviously it would be like when you're sending mail, if there's a word that's not appropriate, it just wouldn't post. But everybody could go look at the board and see different ones, and then they can mail that person if they're interested in joining. As TC mentioned, I would like to see us be able to control the dressage moves, or this goes to any move, more like the tolt. Be able to control how long we can do it for, and as well not have to stop in order to do it, because we could do a lot more with those moves, and it would be a lot more interesting if we could just do it from like a walk, let's say, and we were able to do it for this length of time instead of stop, do a twirl, and then that's it. You're kind of limited. So, yeah, that's stuff I would like to see. And you also mentioned, Rose, that it's all basically off of Star Stable right now if you want to find out about competitions and all of these things. So we can't even tell people, like, go join our open Discord server because it's blocked out.
For reasons.
Yeah, for safety reasons. So it'd be cool if we did have an alternative way of, like, oh, we are hosting a competition, or our club is this, and this. Reach out to me for more information and stuff like that. It'd be cool if we had a better way to communicate in-game, since we are very limited.
Okay, interesting. And Crumpet?
You guys pretty much said the majority of my wants. I think definitely an updated arena, keeping the lines on the floor, because that's pretty important for moves and stuff, but just kind of having a bigger arena. I've always said, like, the entrance to the riding arena would be really lovely, like, if that was updated. Particularly if you're lining up at the entrance and you've got, like, a club of, 15 to 20 people that are lining up, you're, like, outside on the road now, because it's not quite, like, big enough. So I think it would be really lovely to kind of have a dedicated space where people do line up. And obviously, if there's a lot of clubs practicing in the arena, that's quite a bit of a squish to try and, like, line up and make sure that people aren't kind of merged with other people, because the eye option runs out then. So I think the entrance would be really lovely. I did a project a while ago which was kind of looking at, like, dressage updates and things with April Purple Night, and I think one of the other ideas that came from that was having, like, a little room where you can change outfits and things within the arena, or having at least kind of a bit of a wardrobe. So that you don't have to run all the way back to your home stable to try and fix something, or kind of bring multiple different outfits, and then someone forgot their hat and things and they don't have to run all the way back. They can just run to the wardrobe section. I think also, obviously, the camera would be great to have updated, or maybe kind of moved about, to have a better version of the arena. Particularly, maybe, there's a lot of dressage edits out there, so having a good camera would really help with dressage edits. Off the top of my head, that's pretty much it. I would like to see lots of dressage, more like outfits that kind of come out with dressage. A lot of colour coordination, I think, is a big one that everyone really likes, because if you've obviously got a lot of dressage clubs that want particular uniforms, it's very hard to try and match things sometimes, so it'd be really lovely to kind of get a little bit more matchy stuff. Other than that, I think that's pretty much off the top of my head. That's the things that come to mind.
That's a lot of wishes.
I feel like something else that is more of a dream than reality would be a home stable at the riding arena, because I live there and I hate just trailering from place to place and riding arena and all that. I'd rather just be able to call for pickup and be there whenever I need to.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I see. Maybe have like a new area that is even more. I think we talked about this before. More equestrian, where the riding arena is right by the stable and also has a paddock and all. Like a huge equestrian area, because right now it's just a Silver Glade Manor, and it's mostly wine.
Yeah.
It is.
I really like you mentioned that, and I really like Jorvik Stables. It's just that the arena is not very suitable for what we need.
It's missing a camera,
and I feel like it's a really big arena compared to what we're used to in the riding arena. And as someone who tries to make routines very interesting, you don't want to have a lot of empty trotting or cantering to get to a certain point to do specific moves.
Yeah.
So, maybe it's something that we'd have to adjust with and test out. But it's definitely like, I feel it is a bit on the bigger side.
Okay, nice. Okay, and then the last question. Any rules and tips for people who doesn't compete but wants to watch the competition? I realize now maybe this should have been up for the experts to answer, because I have no idea. So let's start with the experts. Crumpet?
I think the majority of routines are posted up on YouTube. Some clubs will tend to do it privately, or like a unlisted video, so only the link is given to the judges. But some other clubs do like an edited version and they post it up. So I'm sure if you literally just searched dressage routines, you would find lots and lots of routines up on YouTube. In terms of like competitions and kind of having to get to know like where competitions are, I would recommend joining the Star Stable Dressage server, but also joining lots of open servers of like dressage clubs, internationally as well. Doesn't have to be in your region. And honestly, Instagram is always a good option. But I think if you want to get to know a little bit more about dressage, there's a lot of dressage servers out there. That teach dressage. You have to be in a club to learn dressage. You can always just go along to a lesson. So just kind of those kind of Discord, YouTube, and Instagram seem to be the main things.
Okay. Puff, do you have any tips?
Yeah, so as Crumpet already mentioned, there are so many videos on YouTube of competitions, routines. I know that when we did the live competition, the New Year Gala, I filmed every routine and put it up for people to see. So typically, if it's a live competition, people will do that. And since there is issues with being able to see people in the arena during a live competition, a lot of times you go to show support and cheer clubs on, but you can't actually see what they're doing. So you're kind of cheering on nothing. So it's cool that if people are recording, you get to actually see it later on. And just for like competition practices or even just practices, I know Star Stable Dressage, for the registered clubs, you're able to watch. They will let you know, hey, we're on this server at this time and this is the type of practice being hosted by this person, in case you have any questions. And you can choose if you want to be in the call in that server, and people can join in and listen. As for my club personally, if people want to watch our practice, I'll just tell them, hey, here's our schedule and we're always on this server, just pop in whenever you want. The one issue is, if you are going to watch, don't stand in the middle of the arena, because although now we don't have to ignore people, we have the little eye feature. Sometimes people don't always use it, especially if you're in a dressage group. You can't use it because there's like friend option, which I would love to see. Also, just no one at all, because a lot of times you have to say, someone invite me to a group and just leave. So you use the group feature and now you can't see anybody. So a lot of times we still need to use that ignore feature, and if you're just standing in the middle, then we can't really see what we're doing. And so, and we also tell people like, hey, we're going to be filming tonight for this comp. You want to come watch and support us, please do. So people kind of find out information through Instagram and Discord and stuff.
But it's remember, be respectful, people.
Yes.
They are sidelines. You can sit perfectly fine up there and be a good supporter. It's awesome to see people actually sit up there and like fill it up.
Oh yeah.
Gives an awesome feeling. So go run up there, leave your horse outside, run up there, sit down and watch. I would do it if I knew. Cece and Tc, do you have any tips that you would like to add?
I think just for anybody that kind of wants to get involved with, I guess, the dressage as was mentioned. Like, I wasn't really doing dressage a little while ago, but I did a music video with my club, and we used a lot of dressage stuff for it. So we went on the SSD website, and we watched a lot of their tutorials, like about the lines in the arena, the spacing. Read a lot of like the dictionary stuff, so we knew, right, this is what this move is called, this one is what this is called, and you know, if we're going to go nose to tail or something like that, the spacing, stuff like that. That's where we learned things that we needed for what we needed to do, because we had no experience. All of us were absolute noobs. Not one of us knew what we were doing. So it was interesting, but it was really fun. So I would say definitely check that resource out because it's very well put together.
And Cece, did you have any tips?
Just like the common decency, like don't run in and out and run around with your horse in the arena while they're doing their routine, and maybe not spam the emotes or something. Like just leave your horse outside and sit down and watch in peace. So yeah,
the arena is still for everyone.
Yeah, true.
That is what is hard. Like someone who might be new to Star Stable might not even know about this phenomenon at all.
Yeah.
They just want to run in and be like, "Oh, what is going on?" How do you handle these kinds of players if they pop up? Puff and Crumpet.
I know that personally, the thing that I don't like about the eye feature is that it doesn't hide me to other people. So when I'm using it and I can't see others and they try and talk to me in chat, I completely miss it because I'm focusing on my club chat. And so I feel like really upset when people come in and they are saying all these things to me and I seem so mean because I'm just ignoring them and running past them.
Aww.
So I love sharing the arena with other people. I do make jokes with my club where if someone runs in, I'm like, what are they doing in my arena? But it's never serious. So, you know, we kind of just, if, you know, now that we have the eye feature, it's really not a problem. If this person is like, please don't hide, like, I want to watch and I want you to, you know, see or whatever, then I'll just ignore somebody who maybe doesn't know what's going on and then unignore them after. So I'm always sure that if there is somebody who doesn't know what's going on or I need to ignore somebody, I unignore them right when I can, if I remember to, because I don't want it to seem like I had an issue or I don't want to block them out if they do want to have any questions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that is totally understandable. Did you want to add something, Crumpet? Or...
I mean, I think you guys covered it pretty much. I think just one of the main things is obviously respect. So, you know, if you're in the arena practicing, you know, sometimes you may run into people who are quite negative about, you know, your practice or might comment on things. And honestly, that ignore button is there for a reason. Definitely best to just not engage and just pop them and ignore. I think just, if you're going to watch a club, then obviously go into the stands. But just general kind of respect and just kind of knowing, you know, when a club's practicing, respect that they're practicing and, you know, just try not to make it, you know, keep annoying them, keep asking them questions and things like that. They'll always, I know every single club is happy to answer questions and things after the practice or even before the practice. And just, I think respect is one of the main things and be kind.
Cool. Well, that was the last question. Is there any other questions popping up that we wanna, or something we might have forgotten?
I have one question actually, because this was like something that we found when we were doing the music video and you're using dressage stuff. It might have been in the guide and I just didn't get that far through because we were kind of picking and choosing what we needed to help us do the music video and then leaving the rest. But when you're instructing someone, are you giving like, let's say curl left, is it your left or is it their left?
It's their left.
Yeah, they're left.
It's always their left, okay.
You're always, the tough part about instructing is you have to have a lot of knowledge being in the line, so you know exactly what it looks like, and so you're calling it for them. And sometimes we have members who will go left, and I go, no, you're other left. So, directions are really complicated sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But as I said, as an instructor, you really need to know a lot of things when you're in the line, such as if you're the lead of the line and you have a big line, are you able to fit them on the whole mid? And if so, when do you have to call the move? Because of screen delay, the first person is farther ahead than what you see. So how close are they to the wall technically, So you have to make sure you're calling things on time and you're calling things for them, not for, necessarily what you see.
Mm-hmm.
The timing and things of commanding is very difficult. Trying to time that, you've got two lines that are trotting towards each other and you have to try and time it right. It could definitely go wrong. But yeah, just as Puff said, if you're going to command, you kind of command to them. The difficulty is when you're having to be in line and you're trying to command in line, which can be very, very difficult. But some people have got it down. They've managed to do it. But yeah, I think just kind of working out the timing of everything and yeah, going on those goes.
Yeah.
Well, that's that. I guess we're done with the discussion for now. We might be back with this within a year and see how it is. Or I feel like we're gonna.
Most definitely, I would say.
Oh, so exciting! Oh my goodness! Maybe there's a gala. There might be a gala, like the Dressage Club of the Year and the Dressage Instructor of the Year. Oh. Yes, there must be a gala. I hope to see a gala within a year. Have fun.
We're leaving you all to organize this.
Yeah, we want to see this gala. We want it live streamed. So. Okay, we're moving on to our other segments. First off, favorite and least favorite update of the month, which should be then March and April. And let's start with March for everyone. TC, which one was your least favorite and favorite of March?
It's very hard for me to pick a least favorite this time around because there was so much that I actually haven't done. I wasn't anywhere near the new daily or the Gary Goldtooth makeover, for example, or the new I don't even think I even really got to have a look at any of the squirrel pistachio, or is it pistache? Pistache. I don't think I got to see any of that, so I can't really pick a least favorite for that reason.
Ouch.
But I can pick. This is kind of weird because it's a sort of a favorite and a least favorite in one. I'll go with that. My favorite is the magical horse coat switch.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really glad to see that because obviously with the circus race being fixed, you can't force your horse to go into wild horse mode. Yeah. So I love that. But a slight, my least favorite thing for this reason is with the Petra and Aranis. I loved the coats, but I wasn't keen on them being on a model that came out a little while ago, being the Clydesdale. I would have liked to have seen them on something newer.
Okay, interesting.
So that's my March updates.
And then we have Crumpet, your least favorite and favorite of March.
I'd go with the same with TC. In terms of my favorite was the magical horse coat switch. I've been waiting for that one for a while. And then my least favourite was Petra and Ernie, just purely because of the Clydesdale model. That was something that I also kind of pointed out, and I think it would have been nicer to see on a different model. But I understand why they went for the Clydesdale, because they are definitely like a big horse.
Hefty horse.
Yeah, but the magical horse coat switch was definitely one of my favourite things, and I love it, and I always use it because I always have lots of magical horses that I prefer different coats on. So yeah, that's definitely one of my absolute top favourites.
Well, my least favorite was the magical horses all in all, and that's because in general I don't do magical horses. It wouldn't be any different if it was for Frisian in those colors or whatever. Just no. I just don't.
I would love those.
I know you would. No magic. Please go away, magic. Me playing a magical game. Anyway, not on horses. Me also buying magical horses occasionally. Anyway, favorite was the pistache race. If I have to pick one, it was the butterfly. It's not really a race though. It's more of a go in and collect the butterflies. You have no time limit or anything. You just go in and do it and you get XP for it. So I guess my favorite with that is because it's more of a chore that you still get XP from to your horse, which I really like. It's like herding maze annoying animals that keeps running away. That's definitely my favorite. Cece, what's your least favorite and favorite of March?
My least favorite actually is the nature candy daily with pistache. Because I generally favor the more exciting training routes, so the run and fetch are not really my cup of tea.
Okay.
And also I had already gotten the herd tack and stuff I wanted, so the reputation wasn't a prioritization of mine for that reason. And my favorite, I also thought the magical code switch was really awesome, but I picked Gary Goldtooth's makeover and the quest he came with as my favorite.
Yeah,
because
that was a good
I think
question.
he looks so cute.
He's
a little wholesome grandpa.
That does a little dance. He does his dance.
Yeah,
he's
kind
of
so
funny.
Cute. Yeah, so and also the quests were really fun. I love little Athena. She's just super cute as well.
Yeah.
The quest was fun. I really like that Goldtooth's makeover wasn't just a makeover. It actually came with some quests and stuff to do along with that. So I thought that was really cool and hope for that in future.
I really like that they left the new area to do the quest. Like they went to Starshine Ranch.
Oh yeah, true.
That they weren't they're not all closed in. They can actually go out there if they want to. They just choose mostly not to. For a reason, because it's grayscale and there are squirrels and all that. So yeah, that's interesting. And then Puff, what was your March updates?
My favorite is gonna be the magical horse coat switch. And my least favorite is gonna have to be the same as Cece. I am not somebody who enjoys racing, and I will purposefully skip out on orienteering races or ones where you have to go and collect things. Because it's not as fun, and you have to go out of your way to go and grab this and then go to the other side and grab that. So it wasn't really my cup of tea.
You always get stuck somewhere.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Okay, I see. Yeah, I think I feel the same way, but since it was so short, I felt that it was better than the one in Mistfall and Hollow Woods.
I
didn't see it
worst.
as my Oh yeah, it's so long.
You have to go so far compared to the others.
Yeah. But then in Mistfall, you have all the different levels, so you think it's downstairs, but it was actually upstairs, so you have to run around and up and then fall and then you stop and Orienteering, I have to agree, it's not really my favorite. I get very annoyed, so I never do them. But yeah, okay, and then we move over to April. TC, what was your updates then?
My favorite is probably going to be the new race gear and clothes, because I did actually quite like a few select items from that. I bought 3 of the saddle pads and 3 of the matching leg wraps.
Wasn't there purple in there this time?
Yes, there was purple. Although it needs to be slightly darker.
Of course.
Just
always. Oh my god, you can never be happy.
But it's very, very close, so I wasn't too annoyed, because the last time there was a purple item, it was pink, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. But I really like those. I got the white, blue, and purple saddle pads and the leg wraps, and then I saw somebody else riding around with, I think, the full white and black set, and I was like, so I went back and bought the entire part of it for the horse, not for me, but just for the horse. So I have the bridle and the saddle now for my Frisian. So I really like that set. As for my least favorite, it's kind of the same again. I haven't really done any of this. The only thing the reason I'm gonna pick this is just really something really simple. It's gonna be the Star Stable mobile launch, and it's only because I still can't play it.
Oh.
So that's the reason I'm gonna pick it.
Okay.
Everything else I'll get the opportunity to do at some point.
Okay. My least favorite was actually the new race gear. Because, not that I didn't like it, I bought a lot of it, but it was that month, I was like, it's so actually many good stuff. I can't pick anything else. I think this is the one. So, but yeah, I guess I could have actually chosen the mobile game now that I think about it. Actually, I'm gonna change. It's gonna be the mobile game because thinking about it, even though, of course, I work for Star Stable, and of course, it's good that we extend so more players can play on more devices than computer. But me, myself, I am not a fan of playing on phones. I want to play on computer. I want a decent, good game for a computer. So for me, I'm like, I'm going to probably try just to see how it works, and then I'm not going to touch it ever again. So I guess that's the least favorite out of that reason. But yay for everyone else that can play on phone if they want to. iPhone. Favorite, Big Bonnie and Horse. I'm so glad to have more stuff to like just pick up on my way when I'm doing other stuff and get stuff from it. And including when I'm done with getting the stuff that I want, I can get XP by picking up trash. Yay! Win-win for everyone. So love that. Crumpet, your least favorite of April.
My least favorite was also the race gear and clothes, just purely because I'm not a racer. So I don't tend to use it. And yeah, I think I'll definitely buy some of it, maybe to use in the future, but I don't tend to race. I don't really do championships or anything, so it wasn't something that really interested me. But they look really pretty, and I saw lots and lots of pretty photos on Instagram that people had made like really fun outfits with them. And then my favourite was the Finn Horse launch. I love the Finn Horses. Absolutely adore them. I think they're probably one of my favourite horses now. They're just so cute.
Are we gonna see routines with Finn horses?
Oh, I really hope so. I just love them. They're so cute with their little hair style that they have. It just reminds me of the fjords, to be honest, actually, and probably why I like the fjords as well. But yeah, I just love the Finn horse, and I love the coat colours as well. They just did such a great job, and the gates and everything. I adore them. So they're definitely my favorite.
Oh, so happy to hear that. Okay, and Cece, was that your favorite as well?
No, actually not.
What? I'm shocked. Okay, let me know everything.
Okay. Shall I just start with my least favorite as well?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll start with my least favorite. That was the Green Day race, since I haven't really tried it that much. I think I only raced it like once, so I don't really remember it. So I definitely need to check that out more. And also I have already the highest reputation with Gold Spur. So, yeah. But my favorite then was the horse with Big Bonnie.
Ah, of course.
Yeah. And especially the rewards that you get some lore about Big Bonnie.
Oh, yes.
I thought, yeah, those were so well written and super interesting. And yeah, I just thought they were really amazing. So I haven't really gotten like all the rewards yet, because I just wanted to be
not stressed.
Just to save it, yeah, not stressed with it. So I'm really looking forward to unlocking more lore. They're so cool.
Cool. Okay. I'm surprised, but yet I get it. Okay. Puff, your April.
My least favorite is probably gonna have to be the race. Again, you see a trend here. I'm not a fan of training or doing races. So, it's just, it makes the training route longer than it already is. And yes, you get more XP, but it's just like, But my favorite is gonna have to be Big Bonnie and Horse, because I love going around and just going, oh my god, trash, and then picking it up. Like, it makes me so happy to be so excited about garbage. And I also loved how it had the meaning of, like, you know, we need to be recycling, and you know, if you see something, just pick it up, and then you never know.
Yeah.
It's probably dirty, but you might not want to make something out of it, but you never know, right? So,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yep.
or even get creative with your own things. So, yeah, I really like the message behind it, and it was really fun to do.
Yeah. I actually had, I was at the office one day and I was going to show a colleague something and I logged in and I was just running by and then I was like, ooh, trash! Just pausing everything to show him. I was like, I just need to pick that up. He was like, what was that? I was like, the trash! You have to pick it up. I'm picking up trash. And he was like, oh, okay. And then we moved on. It's like, ooh, trash! Never thought I would say that. Well, actually, I said more in a Swedish way. Oh, recycling. Ooh, recycle! Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Then we're moving on to our last segment, which is a wish of what you would like to have added into the game. We have been talking a lot of what we would like to be added into the game in the discussion. So we are more free to choose wishes that it doesn't revolve around dressage clubs. If you don't want to, it could be more about other stuff. And as usual, our guests can have 2. So let's start with Crumpet. What are your 2 wishes?
I think I said this last time, but I will forever keep saying it.
Oh, yeah.
I really want my Appaloosa updated.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
I will keep going on about it until it's finally updated. I love that horse to bits, and I can't wait for the day that it will come, where it's slightly updated and it's all new and shiny. That also,
Yeah, slightly? Excuse me, it's gonna be updated.
Yeah, I mean, I love them how they are now, but, you know, I just want them to be a little bit more modern looking, you know? They look a bit crusty, and whenever I bring them out my home stable, I get bullied for it, because I love them. And everyone's like, why are you bringing an Appaloosa when you could bring all of these fantastic other breeds? And I'm like, because I like them.
Oh, you need a generation 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would like to have, actually, you mentioned something a little bit earlier about mail systems.
Ooh.
I would love to have an updated mail system and have a bit more like communication in game, in terms of like clubs and friends, and just kind of that system in general would be really cool updated. And maybe even updated post boxes. I feel like this is such a small thing, but it's like, it would be really cool to see.
Well, they've been the same the past 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it would be really cool, and like you could actually like maybe incorporate like a gift system and like go to the post office and send like a parcel to someone, and like you're sending an item or something like that. It would be really, really cool to have that kind of thing with like the post system. Yeah, those would be my 2.
Okay, and Puff, what are your 2 wishes?
Okay, so funny story.
Wait.
Artsy and I actually made a post about video mode. And I know that video mode is kind of like, it'll be more difficult to do, so I would at least really like the option to not just hide our character, but also be able to hide our horse, so we're able to just like walk around without anything on our screen. So that way we're able to film like club trailers or dressage edits or anything like that without our character in the way, or our horse in the way, because we can do wild mode, but then there's a wild horse in the way. We get off our horse and we're filming, and when the horses pass by, you see a little person walking. Like, it's just not aesthetically pleasing. So I would love to have the option to hide our horse and character. And my next update that I would love to see, this is something that since I became an ambassador, I saw introductions and everyone mentioned like what horse they'd love to see. I said the Percheron, is that how you say it? I'm pretty sure. And I have always loved drafts, and I would love to see a Percheron, and I have been saying that since the start, since day 1, so I'm sure the day that if they decide to make them, it's gonna be because they are annoyed of hearing me say it. So
maybe. Well, we always love to hear wishes of what would be nice to see in game, and Percherons would be pretty nice.
Yeah, lovely.
Of course, Cece agrees. Anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
what is your wish, Cece?
my wish, I tried to tie it in with the Dressage theme.
Mm-hmm.
And when I hear the word Dressage, I immediately think of the Soul Rider Anne.
Mm-hmm.
So, my suggestion would be that it would be cool to see something like a Dressage training with Anne.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it could be a bit similar to the Soul Riding training.
Mm-hmm.
But like you're trained by Anne,
Oh.
and Anne teaches you the Dressage moves.
Aw, cute.
Yeah, that would be so cool, and maybe just have a little quest line with it, and maybe have a reward tree, with the rewards being like a really cool Dressage set. That would be really fun to see.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. TC?
I am gonna go with an updated riding hall. I know it's pretty simple, like we've talked about it earlier, but I think an updated riding hall with the correct proportions, I think is pretty important, with the lines on the floor somehow still being there, but being updated. So that's what I'd like to see to make it a little bit easier.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna stick to my wish until I see it. Untack button. I need it. I'm so tired of clicking and dragging and clicking and dragging. It's so annoying. I just wanna click a button. Please. Okay. So that's my wish. Okay. Well, that was the last segment. And it's gonna be a little special ending today. So we're gonna thank you, Puff, so much for joining us today and for your all your insight and ideas and everything. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I was so happy that I can share anything that I could, since I love this community so much.
Oh, awesome. So cool. Well, we'll see you around, and I hope you have a great evening.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, so yes, this is very special. I will be holding a speech. I guess I haven't written anything. I should have written something. Damn. Okay, so everyone, this is actually my last episode with the Soul Riders podcast. We've been doing this for over 3 years, I think. Yes?
Yeah?
It's 2018 we started.
Yeah.
So.
Oh boy. Yeah, so we three started this podcast, and I felt it's the time for me to jump off. It's as I said in the beginning, I am permanent employed at Star Stable, and this is nothing to do with my boss telling me I can't do this podcast anymore, or TC and Cece saying that I need to jump off. It's purely my own decision. I felt like this podcast is supposed to be by players for players, and me being here can put some restrictions or stuff happening for the podcast, and I do not wish for that to happen. So I just...
And we'll drag you back against your will at some
Oh my
point.
goodness. And on top of that, I'm gonna be a puppy mama, so I feel like this is the perfect time to actually gonna jump off. It's sad. It's sad.
Yeah.
It's been a long ride, and we had so much fun.
Yes.
But of course, I'm not leaving TC and Cece all on their own. Actually, I one is leaving and 3 are joining.
Yes.
And that's why we kept Crumpet, because she is one of them, together with Quicksilver and April Oakfall. So yes, they are all gonna be joining. It's not gonna be like episode. They're gonna be 5 hosts. No. They're gonna be sort of like freelancing. They're gonna be taking turns and being here. And as it's not gonna be the last of you seeing me, I might be a guest as a Star Stable employee instead, dragging Star Stable people with me. So I might even be back for because my favorite episodes are horses and the yearly summarizing. So I might be back for those. But we'll see. So yeah, this is me saying goodbye to everyone who's listening. We appreciate of your support so much, and it's been so much fun to read all your comments. I'm always so happy to see when you're like, oh my god, yes, an episode! I have something to listen to when training, and I'm like, oh, yay! And you're probably sick and tired of me complaining or saying like, oh, you must be so tired of me. But you must be so tired. So yes, this is me signing off, and 3 signing in. I hope you will have fun, Crumpet.
I will.
Yes. I'm gonna look forward to see where this podcast is going together with all 5 ladies we have here. And so yes, this is the last time I'm saying stay awesome as always, and you will see these ladies next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.